morning. Let us continue our discussion on the diffraction. In the last section, we have to discuss about the diffraction grating. Okay. Good morning. Let us discuss about the diffraction grating, an important application of the diffraction phenomena. An important and interesting application of the diffraction is the diffraction grating. It consists of very large number of extremely narrow parallel slits separated by equal opaque spaces. There are two types, reflection grating and transmission grating. So, grating means it consists of very large number of extremely small narrow parallel slits separated by equally opaque spaces. So, it was first designed by Joseph Fraunhofer. Okay, it consists of lines of wire placed very close side by side at regular intervals. The diameter of these wires of the order of 0.05 millimeter to, and their spacing varied from 0.053 millimeter to 0.687 millimeters. So, reflection grating can also be prepared by ruling with a diamond point on a speculum of metal. So, first initially Fraunhofer designed this grating, and he has taken a number of wires and arranged in a regular fashion, close by close, side by side. The diameter of the wires are about 0.05 millimeter, and spacing is varied from 0.05 millimeter to 0.687 millimeter. So, like this, he arranged in a particular fashion, side by side, and that serves as a grating. So, transmission grating. Reflection grating is on a metal sheet, can draw a number of lines, and then light which is falling on that ruling, it gets reflected back, and this is what is called as reflection grating. In the case of the transmission grating, it was designed by Roland. Transmission grating is produced by ruling fine lines extremely close together on surface of a glass with sharp diamond points. In such grating, the diamond scratches act as a opaque space, and the transparent portions act as a slits. So, you take a sheet of a plate of glass, and using a diamond, draw a number of lines, very closed lines. Okay, closed lines you have to draw. Okay, and this serves as a grating. Wherever the line is drawn, that serves as a opaque region, and the gap between the two opaque lines serves as a transmission region, transparent portion. Okay, the line between the space between the two lines is going to be like as a slit. So, we have seen that reflection at a single slit. Now, there are hundreds of thousands of slits are there in this piece of glass. Okay, it is nothing but a parallel slit arranged side by side. So, transmission or diffraction takes place through multiple slits instead of single slit. So, we have discussed diffraction at the single slit in the Fraunhofer diffraction single slit in the last session. Now, it is extended to n number of slits. Same theory is going to be repeated with the extension that each expression is going to be associated with n. N represents the number of slits. Okay. So, this is what the basic idea in designing the transmission grating. So, here normal incidence theory we have to take, because this is the common theory which is going to be asked in the examination. Now, let us consider Mn is the plane of the grating, and we have seen that A, B, C, D, E, F, all these are going to be the lines drawn. See, AB is going to be the transparent region where A is the opaque line, a line is drawn at the point A, line is drawn at the point B, line is drawn at the point C, D, E and F, whereas the gap between A and B is going to be a slit, B and C is going to be split, C and D is going to be split, E and D and E is going to be split, E and F is going to be split. Light is transmitted through the slit and it is stopped at the point A, B, C, D, E, F. But the gap between the line, gap between A, B, C, gap between the A, B, light is transmitted, gap between the B, C, light is transmitted like this. So this is acting as a one slit, this is another slit, another slit, another slit, another slit. So like this, there are a number of slits in a grating. I have taken only a few. See here, the width of the one slit is going to be A, another slit is going to be B. The total distance is going to be the grating element anta karitee now. A plus B is going to be grating element. Okay. Now the light is transmission, light is from the center, the light is transmitted without any kind of deviation or diffraction. So this point is corresponding to a central maximum point. On either side, we have number of alternate maxima and minima, maxima and minima on either side. Okay, each slit is going to produce one diffraction pattern. One diffraction pattern. One diffraction pattern means it consists of. So this is what? So this is the pattern. Okay, like this. This is due to one single slit like this. So if there are n slits, n such distribution curves are going to be obtained. So this is for the first one. This is the maximum point because there is no diffraction. The light straight away joins here and both the ends, and therefore this point corresponds to a maximum point. Again, this point is there, no? This one is the first maxima. Okay, and this is another maxima. Next, second maxima, P2. P2 is the point of second maxima. P1 are the point of first maxima. Either side VRT is going to be formed from the central point. Okay. So the theory we have to extend for the n number of slits. So this is all the explanation where given AB is a section of the plane transmission grating. Let A be the width of the slit and B be the width of the opaque portion. Then A plus B is going to be the grating element. A plus B is called as the grating element. The distance A plus B is called as corresponding point. The distance A plus B is called as the corresponding point. The point between the distance A B is called as the corresponding point. Let a parallel beam of monochromatic light of wavelength lambda be incident normally on a grating. By Huygens principle, all the points in each slit sends out primary, secondary wavelets in all directions. By the theory of Fraunhofer diffraction at a single slit, the wavelets from all the points in a slit diffracted in a direction theta are equivalent to a single wave of amplitude A sin alpha by alpha, starting from the middle portion of the slit, where alpha is equal to pi A sin theta by lambda. All these things we have discussed in the single slit. Once if you do not know, you just go again for the single slit derivation and you understand the single slit derivation and come back to this derivation. It will be very easy. ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸ್ಲಿಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡಿರೈವೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಎರಡು ಸಾರಿ ನೀವು ಬರೆದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಆಗ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಸ್ಲಿಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ವೇವ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಂಪ್ಲಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ A sin alpha by alpha. Okay, and where is alpha is pi A sin theta by lambda. Okay, now if n be the total number of such slits, that is rulings in the grating, the diffracted rays from all the slits are equivalent to n parallel rays are each from the middle point S1, S2, S3 of the slits. So the path difference between the rays from any two successive slits are S1 and S2 is equal to S2k, that is S1 S3 into sin theta. If you want, I can go back to the diagram, this one. Okay, so this is the path difference. Okay, between the 2 points. This is A point and this is the C point. You can say this is S1 and S2. You can take, then the path difference between the rays which are reaching this point is going to be this one. CG is the point, which is the CG is equal to the path difference. Written here S1 and S2, S2K I have taken here S2K, but in that diagram I have shown that it is C into G. S2K is equal to S1 S2 sin theta. Path difference A plus B into sin theta. Path difference S1 S2 is nothing but A plus B. Okay. Path difference S1 S2 is nothing but A plus B. Phase difference, if P is missed here, phase difference is equal to delta, that is equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference A plus B sin theta. The resultant amplitude in the direction of theta is given by R. R is equal to A sin alpha by alpha into sin of n delta by 2 divided by sin of delta by 2. R is equal to A sin alpha by alpha into sin of n into delta value is this 2 pi by lambda into A plus B sin theta by 2 divided by sin of delta is 2 pi by lambda into A plus B sin theta by 2. So, A sin alpha by alpha into sin of n pi, I have taken n here, 2 to get cancelled, n pi A plus B sin theta divided by lambda, and in the denominator sin of pi into A plus B sin theta by lambda. Now, let us put pi into A plus B sin theta by lambda is equal to beta. Then the form equation reduces to the simplified form. R is equal to A sin alpha by alpha into sin n beta by sin beta. The resultant intensity I is given by the square of the amplitude. So, A sin alpha by alpha square into sin n beta by sin beta whole square. The first factor A sin alpha by alpha whole square gives the diffraction pattern due to single slit, while sin n beta by sin beta whole square gives the interference pattern due to n slit. There are two factors. One is due to the interference factor, another one is due to the diffraction factor. Let us see what is the condition for the principal maximum. Sin n beta is equal to 0, but n beta cannot be equal to 0. Therefore, if sin n beta is equal to 0, then what happens? Sin n beta by sin beta is equal to sin 0 by 0, 0 by 0, which is indeterminate. Therefore, sin beta is equal to 0, but sin n beta not equal to 0, which implies that beta is equal to plus or minus n pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So, pi of A plus B sin theta by lambda, which is equal to plus or minus n pi. Therefore, A plus B sin theta is equal to plus or minus n lambda. Pi get cancelled here. Okay, pi and pi get cancelled. A plus B sin theta is equal to A plus or minus n lambda. So, what is the intensity of the principal maxima? Sin beta is equal to 0, beta is equal to n pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Beta is equal to plus or minus n pi. Will make n sin beta is equal to 0. So, sin n beta by sin beta is equal to, it is going to be a determinant. Hence, to evaluate sin n beta of sin beta, we differentiate the numerator and denominator and find the ratio. So, now let us apply the limitation. Limit beta tends to plus or minus n pi sin n beta by sin beta, which is equal to limit beta tends to plus or minus n pi n cos n beta by cos beta, differentiating this. Okay, n cos of n into, in place of beta we have to substitute plus or minus n pi. Same way cos of plus or minus n pi, which is going to be plus or minus capital N. The intensity I is equal to A sin alpha by alpha whole square into n square. Okay, which is maximum. That is, for beta is equal to plus or minus n pi, the principal maximum obtained are more intense. The intensity also depends on n square, that is the square of the ruling. Thereby, increasing the ruling, the intensity of the principal maxima can be increased. So the plus or minus sign indicates there are two principal maxima for a given order lying on either side of the zero order. So we have the intensity, we have the diffraction pattern on either side of the central pattern, okay, central maxima. Similarly, we have to get the condition for the minima. For intensity I is equal to 0, which implies the sin of n beta is equal to 0. But sin n beta is not equal to 0. These minima are obtained in the direction given by sin n beta is equal to 0. That is, n beta is equal to plus or minus m pi. Pi into a plus b sin theta by lambda, which is equal to plus or minus m pi. Okay. So a plus b, pi get cancels here again, pi and pi get cancels. A plus b sin theta, lambda goes to this side, plus or minus m lambda, where m is equal to 0, n, 2n, etc. n. N is number of rulings, that's all. So because of these values of m sin beta is equal to 0, and they will correspond to 0, first, second, etc. nth order of the principal minima. So this is all about the theory of the diffraction grating, and how to get the principal maxima and minima of the diffraction pattern. Okay. Now let us define another important quantity, that is what is called as the dispersive power of the grating. This is also important for the point of examination. It is for 2 marks question. Okay. Define dispersive power of grating. Dispersive power of a grating is defined as the rate of change of angle of diffraction with the change in the wavelength of light. It is expressed as d theta by d lambda. So dispersive power of grating is defined as rate of change of angle of diffraction with respect to change in the wavelength of light. So from the principal maxima, a plus b sin theta is equal to plus or minus n lambda. Differentiate a plus b cos theta into d theta by d lambda, which is equal to plus or minus n. Lambda is d lambda is going to be 1. So d theta by d lambda is equal to n divided by, transfer this to this side, a plus b cos theta. So this is the expression for the dispersive power of the grating. So from this equation we conclude that dispersive power is directly proportional to the order of the diffraction, and inversely proportional to the grating element, and inversely proportional to the angle, that is cos of the angle theta. Now let us come to the another important question. What is the difference between the grating spectra and prism spectra? So we have seen both the spectra. Using the spectra can be obtained using a prism and also using grating. So in prism spectra and grating spectra, what are the differences? In prism spectra, the spectrum produced due to dispersion of light. Okay. In case of the prism, the spectrum are produced due to the dispersion of light. Whereas in the case of grating, spectrums are produced due to diffraction of light. Prism produces only one spectra, but here we have multiple spectrum. Okay, grating gives number of spectra on either side of the central maxima. Deviation of red light is least and greatest for the violet. Here deviation for the violet is least and greatest for the red. Hence the spectral colors are in the order of violet to red. Here red to violet. Prism spectrum depends on the material of the prism. Here does not depend on the material of the grating. Dispersive power is equal to omega, that is equal to d mu by mu minus 1. Here d theta by lambda is equal to n by a plus b cos theta. Resolving power in the prism spectrum is more, whereas resolving power in the grating is less. So these are the 5-6 important differences I have listed here. If it is given in the examination for 2 marks, write any 2 of the differences, that's all. So 2 differences are enough for 2 marks, right? Okay. Now let us come to the resolving power of, what is meant by resolving power. Resolving power of an optical instrument is its ability to resolve two closely points as distinctly separate points. So when we have two close points, it can be seen when I see through the optical instrument, I can see the two objects are separate. With the naked eye, they are appear to be very close. They cannot be separated. They cannot be seen visually separated. But when I use a optical instrument to see those close lying objects, they can be seen as a separate one. And then that power is what is called as the resolving power of the optical instrument. When the separation between the 2 point source is more, the diffraction pattern are far apart, and as the separation is slowly reduced, the pattern begins to overlap. What is the Rayleigh's criteria? Rayleigh's criteria, the two images are said to be just resolved if the separation of two objects, point objects, is such that the central maxima of the diffraction pattern of one coincides with the first minima of the diffraction pattern of the other. So this should be the condition. Okay, if two images are said to be just resolved, not exactly resolved, just resolved, they appear to just resolved, just separate ಕಾಣುವಂತದ್ದು ಇದ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ if the separation of the 2 point objects is such that the central maxima of one diffraction pattern due to one particular object, okay, it coincides with the first minima of the other. So two objects produces a separate diffraction pattern. So central maxima of the one diffraction pattern should coincide with the minima, first minima of the other. Then only we can say that the two objects or two images are going to just resolve. Okay. So this is what happens. The maxima of the one. So here it is. This is the maxima. So the maxima of the one. This is the maximum of the one object, and this is going to be coincide with the minima of the other object. So this is maxima. Okay, this is maxima. This is a one maxima of the one object, and this is the maxima of the another object. This is the wavelength is lambda. This is lambda plus d lambda. Then you can see that the maxima of the one is coincide with the minima of the other. So this is maximum of the second one, this is maximum of the first one, this is the minimum of the second one. Okay, so maximum of the first one is coinciding with the minimum of the second one. Similarly, the minima, second maxima of the first maxima of the second object is going to coincide on the minima of the first one. So this condition happens, then the two objects are going to be just resolved. They appear to separate. ಅವರೆರಡು ಕೂಡ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಇದಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವೆರಡು ಕೂಡ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎರಡು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣಿಸೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು? ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೇರಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ರಿಸಾಲ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ರಿಸಾಲ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರೇಟಿಂಗ್, ರಿಸಾಲ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ಬೈ ಡಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಎನ್ ಎನ್. So lambda by d lambda is equal to a plus b sin theta by lambda into n anta bariyತೀವಿ. So this is the expression for the resolving power of the grating. ಇದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿರೈವೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್, ಗ್ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮುಗಿದೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮತ್ತೊಂದನ್ನು ಮುಂದಿನ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಮುಂದಿನ ಸೆಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.